Neville, Epic Ireland. This new exciting interactive visitor experience opens this week within the iconic CHQ building in Dublin's Quays. Tell us how you first came upon this idea.
Well, it's a bit of a complex answer because really I started out when I retired in '09 from Coca-Cola, looking at Ireland as an investment in property. But actually I was thinking of commercial property and nice and easy to manage. And then my advisors came in here for a coffee, and they discovered this building was up for sale. And they phoned me and they said, you've got to see this. Well, it was not my idea to buy something that had failed as a commercial venture and was losing money, which was effectively an operating company, which is what I actually bought. But I fell in love with the building.
And it's a fantastic building.
Yeah, it's a wonderful building. It'll be 200 years old in 4 years now from now. And it's been well done up. But I looked at it in a completely different way from the way it had been looked at. High-end shopping centre, etc. I saw it as a building which had many functions. And in trying to work out how we could create it as a destination, one of the things we needed was an anchor of some kind. There are things that we have added, Dog Patch, which has been very successful. We now have a very big lunch and trade now, which we've got events that we hold, etc. But the big anchor is Epic, which was really your question about Epic. And that came from being a member of the diaspora myself.
Yes.
Okay.
And I know you're very proud of your Irish roots.
I am, and I understand how the rest of the world sees Irish people better than Irish people in Ireland understand the rest of the world see. And that is, there's always just a positive intonation when you say, because I've got this funny accent where I've been, sort of I call detribalized, okay? And the people try to pick, where are you from? And I said, well, actually I'm Irish. Oh, you're Irish? I said, yes, I'm Irish. Well, I'm a grandfather, or it's on my list, I want to go there. We don't really realize how Ireland is just different from just about any other country in terms of the way people react to it. And I knew that, and I thought there was a story there to be told where you had to tell the story of the difficulties and the bad times, and that's there.
Well, it's part of the Irish kaleidoscope.
It's part of yes, but it tends to dominate the way that people very often perceive themselves within Ireland. Okay, but actually, there's this wonderful story of the people, the diaspora, and how successful they've been.
And that's what Epic Ireland does. It tells the story through 20 brilliant interactive galleries of the global journey of the Irish people. Indeed, how they've influenced the world.
Indeed. And the surprises are amazing. I mean, we knew there were going to be the Kennedys, the Grace Kellys. I mean, there were the usual suspects. Of course, we've got Che Guevara, Lynch as well. But there's other beautiful stories that have come out. There is the person, and I use the word person to start with, who performed the first successful caesarean section. In other words, in which the mother and the child survived. And who practiced for another 10 years before he revealed he was actually a woman.
Wow.
Because she would not have been able to be in that role. So she disguised herself as a man and for 10 years acted as a surgeon.
So Epic Ireland tells the stories of, if you like, the famous people that have left these shores, that have had an influence worldwide, and the lesser knowns, and in fact the unknowns. The lesser knowns,
the unknowns. Some of the knowns that people don't even know had an Irish ancestry. And some of the rogues.
Yes.
We've got a rogues gallery. Can't leave out the bad guys, because they weren't all, pristine, good citizens.
They certainly weren't.
So we tell some of those stories too.
And it's a completely private venture. It's 12 million euro of your own money has been committed to the project. No financial assistance from the government or from local authorities. You're a businessman at heart, and you know this space of earning money better than anybody else. I presume you look at this as a venture that will make a return for you as well.
Absolutely, and it has to be sustainable. Okay, so we've got money in the budget to keep revamping. We've got to keep updating. If it's not commercially viable and it becomes a charity case, it will not be sustainable. I really don't believe. I think you have to run it along business lines. But of course, there's two sides to that equation for me. If it builds traffic into CHQ, because I've got the interest of CHQ, the building, that also, of course, is additive in terms of return as well. Okay, so there's that. But I've also fallen in love with Epic Island. As I said, just a wonderful story. In fact, I was down there yesterday, and I was suddenly looking at the Michael Collins video that we had, and I realised that piece was filmed in CHQ, in the building, in the vaults, where the museum is. You pick up little granular bits, which just give you pleasure. So I'm having so much fun with this.
Yeah.
It's unreal, but it's going to work on a commercial basis.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great success, and it's going to be a great asset for Dublin and Ireland to promote itself worldwide. Within the attraction, you've deliberately used interactive, state-of-the-art technology. It's a real experience for the visitor as opposed to a simple museum. Tell us about that approach.
Yeah, I almost don't like the word museum because that's sort of dusty artifacts, and it's not. So we're telling history. Where you get the real feel of history is, of course, it's in the vaults, 200-year-old vaults. So that gives you the right atmospherics. But I want it to be a 21st century museum. So that means using the latest technology. And one of the supplier of that technology, this is the largest installation they've done ever. That's how big it is. So you've got very high definition videos. You've got interactivity, which is so you could search down deep into a story, or you can walk away and go and look at another one.
So it's real world-class technology.
It's the best that we could find and the best available, yes.
And as you say, there's something in the budget for constantly revamping year after year, because technology is one of those things that dates and needs to be reinvested in.
Absolutely, and that's where looking at it commercially is very important, because we've always got to keep it not quite at the bleeding edge, but at the leading edge.
Yeah, very good. And I presume it'll be of most interest to international visitors, but will be very relevant as well to a domestic market. What sort of visitor numbers do you anticipate on an annual basis?
Well, we're starting out. We think we could, do 400,000 pretty easily, and we really don't know the split. But we think certainly initially it's probably going to be about 20% local. And by the way, when I talk Ireland, I talk the island of Ireland.
Yes.
All right. Both in terms of the exhibition and both in terms of the way we appeal. So about 20% of the people actually come from Northern Ireland.
Yes.
Which is where I was born. Now the biggest chunk is probably going to be actually from the UK, and then it'll be the US.
Yeah.
And that affinity is going to be a pretty strong one. The big thing that's happening, of course, is this area. I mean, they've got the cruise ships. There's 113 coming in this year. There's going to be more. They're deepening the port, look 4 years out. That's going to be a much bigger number. So we're we're a mile and a quarter from where they dock.
Absolutely. And indeed, we're only a stone's throw from O'Connell Bridge and Trinity College and the like. But this part of Dublin, the North Quays, doesn't get that much, if you like, tourist business. But that's something I'm sure will change with the advent of Epic.
Well, I came with fresh eyes, all right? So the whole thing was, Feld Shopping Centre, other side of the river, a long way away, which it isn't. My view was, wow, this new financial centre, look what's around it. Look at all the people here. A pedestrian bridge that empties right into the building. The Lewis line, which runs out the front. Buses that stop out the front. The main station just down the road, okay, and 10 minutes from, maybe I did 12 the other day from Grafton Street, and I just come down from Trinity, about 10 minutes from Trinity. So actually, it's very central. Yeah. But perception was different from the reality, and it was exactly the same when I bought this building. It was exactly the same when I decided to do Epic Island. People said, when I won the bid, people thought I was crazy paying that sort of money. Now they think I paid too little.
You got it on a steal.
Yeah. But when I started out with the museum, people said, "Oh, I don't think that's going to work." and some pretty important people told me it wasn't going to work. Well, you know, I'm a bit of an iconoclast. So when people tell me something can't be done, I tend to decide, you know, I know differently. So, I mean, I'd done homework on it. I mean, it wasn't sort of out of the air, but I came up with a different conclusion. And now, hopefully, I'm going to prove the doubters all wrong.
I think you're definitely going to prove the doubters all wrong. We wish you all the best, Neville. This is a very exciting project for Irish tourism, and indeed it's going to be an asset for Dublin and Ireland. And we wish you all the best, and may we wish you every success for this season and many more.
Thank you, and it's going to be fun for all of us, including me.